My SPED Talk is about NPM, which is the package manager for Node.js, a backend JavaScript runtime environment. Node.js is in demand due to being free, scalable, and very fast. It runs on the Google V8 engine. So you should use Node.js for the next backend that you develop for a web project. Just to give you an idea about how performant it is, in 2014, the senior architect for Walmart Labs gave a report that 55% of Black Friday traffic was handled by Node and was able to deliver on the equivalent of 2 CPUs and 30 gigs of RAM. And they do about 40% of their annual revenue on Black Friday, so it's pretty impressive. GitHub is the parent company of NPM Inc., who maintains the NPM project. It's open source, so you can peer review any of the code, take a look at how the packages are constructed. NPM consists of the website, the command line interface, and the registry. And we'll be talking about those first two. So if you want to use a package, you'd come to npmjs.com to kind of search what are your options. In this example, I looked up an email validator package. So what this would do would make sure that the user has inputted an email with the correct format when they're like logging in or signing up for an account on your website. So to start using NPM, we need to first install Node.js and NPM using either the command line or an installer package. And then I've already got that installed, so I'll kind of show you how to do that on a project. This is a Node.js project I've got pulled up here. Notice in my dependency list I don't have any mentions of an email validator. So what I'll do is I'll actually copy from here the command. It tells you the command, how to install it on the command line interface. Open this up and hit enter on that. You'll see it start to install. And now this email validator is appearing in my dependency list. So whenever you run npm install, it looks at this dependency list and then builds this node modules folder over here on the left bar. And that node modules contains all your packages. So the reason that that's useful is because node modules is really big, so it's not easy to port it with to like other places. Like it takes up a lot of space. So if you wanted to move this onto a web server to like deploy the website to production that you developed, you'd want to just run npm install, and that way it'll just bring all those packages into the project. You don't actually have to bring the node modules folder everywhere. So that's kind of a nice way to use that. And here's some of like examples of usage in the code that you would use. So you could actually take whatever their input was and use this validate function if you were doing the code in JavaScript. Okay, so it's useful to use NPM because it saves you having to build everything from scratch. You can actually use it to generate an entire Node.js app, these NPM commands. So that's basically helps you with the dry principle when developing, which is don't repeat yourself. People have already developed all these packages, so we can just take advantage of them. We don't have to do everything from the ground up, reinvent the wheel. If you're interested in getting started with NPM and Node, I would suggest using a book from O'Reilly Media. They do really good work, and this book gives a good breadth of understanding of Node.js because there's a lot more to it than I've touched on here. So I hope that this has given you a good idea about how to use NPM.